Hi again, all my crafty friends. If you are new here, I'm Dawn, and you have found Designs by Gaddis. If you enjoy DIYs, flips, and everything farmhouse, you are in the right place. On my channel, I love bringing you fun, simple, and affordable home decor DIYs on a budget. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you like what you see, hit the bell notification and leave me a comment. Now for our first DIY. To create these adorable tiara tray tags, I used a couple of these tags I had left over from Christmas. I'll leave a link for the How to Make Tiara Tray Tags video in the description if you want to make your own wood tiara tray tags. I wanted the first tag to be red and white striped. I used a ruler and marked every half an inch and drew lines for the stripes. I alternated Waverly plaster and Waverly Crimson chalk paint to create the stripes on the tag. Originally, I was going to use 2 stripe tags, but changed my mind and only used 1. I'm sure I'll figure out another way to use the second one in another project. If you like farmhouse tiara tray decor, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now. And if you hit the bell notification, you'll never miss a video. For the blue tag, I used Master's Touch in Ultramarine. I didn't realize I didn't have any dark blue chalk paint until I got to this point. Now that the tags were dry, I used a Dollar Tree sanding block to distress them. I removed a star from this Dollar Tree sign. I slid my box knife under the metal star and it popped right off. The star actually had a little riser under it, so I pulled it off, trimmed it up, and hot glued it to the tag. I painted the metal star with the same Waverly plaster chalk paint I had used on the other tag and dried it with my hot air gun. Once the star was dry, I glued the star on top of the riser. I used 2 tumbling blocks, which were already glued together, on the back of the tags so they would stand up on my tiara tray. And just look at how cute it turned out. I love it. Now for our first DIY. I saw these adorable wooden baskets online for $60. I thought they were stinking cute, but I will not give $60 for something I can make for $10. This was a simple project. I just hope I can explain it well enough for y'all. If you have any questions about this project, just leave me your question in the comments and I'll answer it for you. For the bottom of the box, I cut down regular size paint sticks to the length I wanted the box to be. I used tumbling tower blocks as my spacers between the slats of the box. I then added Gorilla Glue and hot glue to the sticks on what will be the inside of the box. Next, I used 2 square dowels at the end of the slats to hold everything together. I used a large square to keep all the sides of the box square while I was gluing them all together. Here you can see where I place the dowels on the inside ends of the sticks. I placed a paint stick even with the sides and the bottom and marked it with a pencil. I placed glue inside of these marks and then held the piece in place until the hot glue had time to set up. I did the same thing on the other side of the box. I glued tumbling tower blocks in all four corners to give me something to glue the paint sticks to, and began working my way up the box with the paint sticks. I placed tumbling tower blocks between the sticks as spacers and marked it. I added glue inside the marks and held the board in place. I worked my way around the entire box doing this until I had 2 slats on each side. I cut down pieces of the paint sticks long enough to go in each of the outside corners of the box and glued them to the sides. This covered up all the raw edges of the box. I went around all the joints in the box and removed any excess glue with a razor blade. I used apple barrel flag red paint to paint the entire box inside and out, and then used Waverly plaster chalk paint to distress it. If you like farmhouse decor and DIYs, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now. And if you hit the bell notification, YouTube will notify you when I upload a new video. I just love how this little box turned out. I'll have a video showing the other 2 boxes out in a couple of weeks. Believe it or not, I have had this 17-inch wood round in my stash for almost a year. I picked it up when I first started my channel and never got around to using it until today. With the 4th of July right around the corner, I wanted to make something for my front door. I used Waverly plaster chalk paint and painted the entire front of the board. Dried it with my hot air gun. Sanded it and wiped it down with a baby wipe to remove all the sand dust, and added a second coat of paint. I wanted a smooth, solid surface for the round. I actually considered burning the wood like Sammy at Unicorn Dust Designs did on a recent wood round she created. But I finally decided just to paint it. I created the cut file in Design Space, and I'll leave a link in the description for any Cricut user who may want to try this project at home. Just remember, you'll need to size it down to fit your round. This cut file was so large, I had to break it down into sections. I eyeballed the center and applied the bottom section first. I then did the same with the top section. and then I applied the center portion and the stars. Perfect. I couldn't believe how good it looked. Since my round had a rough edge and not finished, I used some rope I had in my stash and hot glued it to the edge. I made 3 rounds to completely cover the edge of the wood round. If you would like to help support my channel and help me continue to make DIYs for you, please consider buying me a coffee. All the information is in the description box below. Now back to the DIYs. Even though I used permanent vinyl, I wanted to make sure everything stuck well. I used my iron and a tea towel doubled up. I ran my iron around the sign. This is not a required step for this project. It's just something I have always done with my wood and other textured surfaces when I apply the vinyl. Next, I applied a layer of Mod Podge to protect this beauty. This sign turned out so high-end looking, you would never know that it was handmade. I attached 2 D-hooks to the back of the sign and attached the same rope I used around the edges by looping the rope through the D-rings and applying hot glue to hold it. I love it. Let me know in the comments what you think of this patriotic wood sign. I can't wait to hang it on my front door. I used a small Dollar Tree wire wreath and bandanas to make this patriotic wreath. I cut the bandanas into strips about an inch or so wide. I didn't measure anything, just eyeballed it. After I had the strips cut, I began tying them onto the wreath. I placed a red strip, a white strip, and then a blue strip around the inside wire of the frame. For the outside wire, I used 2 strips of each color in the same pattern as before. I left the middle wire bare, but you could also do this if you want your wreath to be a little fuller. Once I had the entire wreath covered with the bandana strips, I fluffed it up some and hot glued this patriotic truck to the front of it. I then fluffed the wreath up around the truck. I love how this wreath turned out, and it was so simple to do. I sorted the beads out by color and used the red, white, and blue beads for the garland. I used a piece of twine and placed some painter's tape on the end. This helps to keep the twine from unraveling and makes it easier to put the beads on the twine. I began placing the beads on the twine in a simple red, white, and blue pattern. The white beads I used were the larger ones, and the red and blue beads were a size down from the white ones. I decided to pour the beads out and sort them by size. This made it easier when I was going to grab a bead. Don't know why I didn't think of that to start with. I continued adding the beads until I was happy with the length of the garland. I found this little wooden tag in my stash and decided to incorporate it with the beaded garland. I painted the entire tag with Waverly white chalk paint. On one side of the tag, I used Dollar Tree stickers saying USA. I lined them on the tag, rubbed them down, and removed the plastic covering. On the other side of the tag, I used a small crafter stick to draw out the area for the stars and stripes. I used Apple Barrel flag red paint and Waverly white chalk paint to paint the stripes for the flag. I used Master's Touch Ultramarine for the area of the stars. I used a small detail brush and some white Waverly chalk paint to create stars in the blue area. For the tassel, I had some blue ribbon, white ribbon, and small red and white gingham ribbon. I also used a small piece of nautical rope I found in my scrap pile. I stacked everything together. I used the twine from the garland and tied it around the top of the tassel and added a dab of hot glue. I wrapped the twine around the tassel until I had covered up the hot glue and then trimmed the top of the tassel. I untwisted the rope pieces to give the tassel more volume. I attached the tag to the garland by tying a knot at the other end and adding a dab of hot glue. And that was it. Let me know in the comments what you think about this patriotic tassel. I love it, and it looks amazing on my tier tray. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel. I upload weekly home decor DIY videos, and you know you don't want to miss any of them. So go ahead and hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. Until next time, happy crafting!